Hello, Hakim here with Takeoff Experts again. I've made this video for those painting contractors who have sufficient experience in residential painting. They are really good with their work, they have good operations, they have good painters, they have good gears, etc. But who now want to focus more on growing their commercial painting business. Or 15 years ago, when I incorporated my small painting business, there was no YouTube, there were no good articles on Google, and so on. And there were no good takeoff programs, at least none that I was aware of or was using. Today, your job has become much more easier. We have a lot of takeoff software out there. And even if you don't know how to measure drawings, you can use the process of delegation to get your takeoffs done by somebody else, and you can still participate in the bidding process. You can contend with other larger painting companies who have been in business for a long time, but who may not necessarily have the efficiencies and the low overheads that you have as a smaller painting contractors. So now you have the opportunity of bidding on commercial painting projects also, which the larger companies are bidding on. I'm speaking from personal experience. So you can now compete with them unlike before. The difference in your sales and profits will be in how quickly and to what extent you start taking advantage of the technology that exists now as far as getting your takeoffs done is concerned. Because now a lot of bidding is done online via email, and all the documents are received via email. So now you can also participate in this commercial bidding process. So here is a 1-minute demonstration on the screen that shows how we measure the various areas using Bluebeam takeoff software, and then transfer it to an Excel spreadsheet for the painting contractors so they can submit their bid. So I'm just going to remain quiet here while you watch this little 1-minute demonstration. So generally this is the process. The GC sends out the bid invites to all the various trades, plumbers, electricians, painters, etc., who are on their bidding list already for either TI projects, tenant improvement projects, or new build projects. So you have to decide on which sizes and scopes you want to bid on, based on your comfort level and based on your years of experience, and or based on the years of experience of the painters that you are employing. And then you can focus very strongly on bidding on those particular projects in that category. You should be bidding at least one project every week. You have to set aside a budget of at least $1,000 per month. If you have, say, only about 2 painters, and you're also painting yourself alongside your painters, that comes to $12,000 per year. So when you break it down, it comes to about $2 per hour per painter. Now you can easily afford $2 per hour per painter if you are in the US or Canadian market. I've used 2,000 hours per year for my calculation. Just think of it as an alternative to spending money doing your marketing or advertising. But now you are bidding on commercial projects instead of marketing and advertising. So if you use that logic, then you will see the sense in setting up a budget like this. And if you have 5 painters, for example, then your monthly takeoff budget can be up to twice as much at around $2,000 per month. So the third step is you hire a good in-house estimator who can do your takeoffs for you, even if it is on a part-time basis, because for $2,000 you just get a part-time worker, right? So if you can't find an in-house estimator, then you can contract out the takeoff work. So set up your own price list for the various areas that are involved in painting based on your particular market. So you probably know your pricing. So for example, when I was running my painting business, for drywall, we calculated that my cost of priming and painting 2 coats of paint on drywall was around 60 cents per square foot. So when I was submitting my bids, I was bidding at 90 cents per square foot for projects that were very competitive. So my cost was 60 cents and I was bidding 90 cents. So that was a 50% markup. It's 50% markup, not margin. Okay. Now, for some projects that were kind of semi-industrial, where the profit levels are a little bit higher, I was pricing them out at around $1 or $1.10 per square foot, because I knew that everybody else was bidding much higher on those light industrial projects. For example, water pump stations and wastewater pumping stations and so on. I've talked about this actually in one of my other videos, but I just think it's worth it to mention it here. So after creating your spreadsheets with all the measurements and inputting your pricing, get a feel of the overall projects. Like, just look at the drawings, look at your spreadsheet and look at your pricing and look at the total pricing. If it feels like, everything looks okay, although your estimator will have done all the work, you still have to use your sixth sense, which you get from your experience. Maybe sixth sense is not the right word, but get a feel of the project, and if you feel that the price is right, it looks reasonable, everything looks good, then submit your bid to the GC with confidence. This is where a lot of painters have a problem. They are not confident with their measurements, and then they are kind of trying to compensate for any possible mistakes that they would have made by adding more dollars to the bid, which takes your bid outside of the budget range of the GC. So if you get your takeoffs done really accurately, and your pricing per square foot, per linear foot, for let's say baseboards, pipes, etc., your pricing per door frame, they are all market price or they are reasonable, then you have a very good chance of getting the project. So if you have a good crew, you have good painting gear, and you are a good team leader with good management skills, there's no reason as to why you should not be able to win at least some of the bids that you submit. Even if you get 10 to 20% success rate when it comes to bidding, that's still quite a bit, because the cost of getting your takeoffs done will be very, very small compared to the projects that you'll be getting and the profits that you'll be making. And then once you are done your project, if you feel that you can increase your pricing a little bit by 5 or 10%, you can do so, provided that you're able to get some feedback from the GC as to what the other bids were. So for example, if you bid, let's say, $22,000 on a project, and all the other bids came above 25 or 26,000, then you know that you have a little bit of space. but you have to be careful you don't get greedy. Establish your relationships with your contractors first. Once you have done a few projects with them, then you can consider increasing your pricing just a little bit, provided your GC is very happy with you. Right? So for example, there was one GC who was, after I did a couple of projects for them, after a couple of years, then they started to just carry my pricing because they just wanted to work with my company. So we still did the takeoffs, and we still did a proper budgets and submitted a proper bid to them. But I made sure that my pricing was reasonable and it would be competitive even if the other painting contractors were bidding on those projects. In order to score a contract, you have to take a shot. Start with the smaller projects first, then you can go on to bigger ones as the years go by and as you build your relationships with the GCs that you deal with. And that's it. You should be able to get at least a few more projects in the coming 12 months by investing in the bidding process instead of waiting for the economy to get better or the recession to get over and so on. You have to invest at least a little bit of money, leverage it in order to get some contracts out of there. So now get on the bidding list of some contractors today, and we will see you in the next video.